Are we live? Or... Okay.
Yes, it says live.
Hello, everybody. Well, I'm Betsy Coe, and this is the wrap-up / reveal for our second We Will RAWK You event. RAWK is an acronym, RAWK, that stands for Random Acts of WikiTree Kindness. And this is the second time we've done it. The first one was during the month of March. And the idea is to pick 5 random WikiTreers and improve their CC7 count. CC7 is close connection count within 7 degrees from the home person. And so the 5 people with me are our 5 very lucky Rockies for the month of June. So we have with us John Tyner, Donna Lancaster, Yuta Beer, Nancy Wilson, and Kathy Nava. So they were all nominated, and then we selected them randomly. So let's jump in, and I'm gonna just enlarge this. How does that look? Great? Good. Okay. All right. So here are our 5 Rockies, and I asked them all if they would just say a little bit about what they thought when they got nominated, what they were hoping for, an introduction. So Yuta, would you mind going first?
Sure. So I was really surprised when I was chosen, and really chuffed, to use an English word. And I was really hoping that somebody could help me with my Austrian side, so my father's side of the family, because it's always very long-winded going through the parish registers and translating from German. My German isn't too hot. So it's been great to see little bits creeping out here and there. And I've been really, really impressed with how many more connections I have now from when you started.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody had a really nice increase. Wonderful.
Yeah.
John, Irish John.
Well, when we started, I was expecting to I was hoping to get over 1,000 connections, which was really nice. And I was looking forward to getting my Jewish side added in, and hoping that maybe some of my brick walls might be broken, or some research notes may be added so I could look into things further.
Great. Nancy?
I wasn't sure what to expect. I had one brick wall that I mentioned, and I'm not sure if it was broken, but I don't think so. But that was my main thing. And my tree was already pretty full, and I didn't realize how full it was compared to other people's trees that were RAWKed. So we'll have to see what you came up with.
Well, we still got you an increase, Nancy.
So yes, definitely got me an increase.
I did notice that you were already well populated, but progress was still made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Donna?
I was really surprised to be picked. And I was hoping against hope that at least one of my brick walls would be broken down. So I'm anxious to see.
Great. And Kathy.
I screamed when I found out.
Yes, Kathy was there during the events committee meeting when we randomized and picked. Yeah, she was reading at that
I
point.
was muted when I screamed, which was good, but my grandson was not happy. I was really excited, but the first thought that went through my head was, am I going to have to pick which profile people get to work on? So when I found out from you, Betsy, that the go-ahead was given that both profiles could be used, I was so happy and ecstatic. And like Yuta, I have Austrian. My adopted father was born in Vienna, so his parents came over when he was young. So I know what that Austrian is, and I never learned German. And I watched a couple of webinars leading up to it, and I was hoping I could help Yuta on her Austrian line. No, I did what I could, but I couldn't do more, and I felt bad. Because as a fellow Austrian, I guess you could say, I was really hoping to help her on that line. So
yeah, it was great to see. So we had some people who had been RAWKed in March. They were on the team, and
yes.
a number of you all were on the RAWK team for this time around, which must have made it a little hard if you were trying to preserve the surprise. I know Kathy was really trying to not have a spoiler alert.
I do want to say this. I have not looked at either of the profiles to see who's been added. I have stayed away from everything. I got an email a couple of days about a line, and I haven't opened the email. Malk on the England project worked on my English line, and he sent me a free space page, and I haven't opened that, so I'm looking forward to looking to that. So, but I've been very good. I wanted everything to be a surprise for me.
That is
so
amazing.
So excited. Yeah, I think people are tired of hearing me say it
too. Well, let's look at the other side. Well, here are our results. First of all, and I want you to see what's in blue as a sum total.
Wow.
We increased your connections by over 2,000, which beat last time. So we have everybody's starting numbers and ending numbers, and then your individual increases.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you'll kind of have to describe things for me because it's not showing on my iPad here.
Oh, is that you, Donna? Who's saying
yes,
that?
please.
Yes, yeah. So you went from 1,749 to over 2,000, 2,128.
Woohoo!
Yes, you broke that 2K barrier. And so that was an increase of 379.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, yeah. So CC7 badges earned. Donna crossed the 2K threshold, and John and Kathy on her biological line profile received their 1K CC7 badge. So
yay!
Love badges to add to our profiles. And here is our team, our outstanding team. We had 62 people sign up to participate. And, we were telling everyone, even a day or a few profiles contribution makes a huge difference. And we had, for the first time, we had a RAWK party, a research party on June 14th, where we got together for 12 hours on Zoom, and we hung out and researched, and sometimes we chatted, and sometimes we were just, searching the records in, companionable silence. And yeah, it was, so that seemed really popular. We're going to be doing that again. So thank you to all the RAWKers. So now let's start in with Utah. So this, I used Greg Clark's wonderful 6 Degrees app for this, although he never renamed it after we went to CC7. So this is your 7 degrees that you're seeing. So you're starting connections on the left, and then how it looked on July 1st.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you can see a really nice filling in. Mm-hmm. And so now, as we get into this this portion of the presentation, I want to just preface what I'm about to present as in saying these are the highlights. Like I think you can see here, you had a really nice jump. It was some of it, it was very hard for me to know exactly where these happened. So, I was basing today's presentation off of the interesting finds. So you'll really have to, go through and just sit through, as some people mentioned, brick walls or hoping for research notes, and those, you may not see those reflected in what I'm presenting today.
Sure.
But yeah, definitely do a deep dive. Go down some rabbit holes on your own tree and see what's happened.
Cool.
Yeah. So first thing we have, Yuta, is that you had a tollman, a gatekeeper in Northumberland through marriage. John Guardhouse's daughter married one of your 3rd great-grandfathers, and he was a gatekeeper, which was, collecting tolls along the road. This was in Northumberland.
Nice.
Yeah. And Jill Whitehouse, she did a real deep dive into your Grover line. And she, as she put it, there were a lot of people with the same name in this family, and not very many records. So that's the proverbial research pulling your hair out moment. Yeah, and I was not. So I will get you the link. You don't have the link to this free space page, right?
No.
Okay, so I will send that to you, and it goes on and on and on. I decided to do screenshots today just so that I could stay all on one tab. But yeah, there's quite a lot of detail and sources, and I was not familiar. Being an American, I didn't know where Tring was, so I mapped it for us. So here it is, a little bit northwest of London.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So here's the first Grover that is in WikiTree, and you'll see he needs some parents. And Jill outlined why she thinks that William Grover, who was a wharfinger, and Sophia Culverhouse were the parents. So you can evaluate that evidence and see if you want to get a little more or go with it. I was not familiar with what a wharfinger was. So it's somebody that owns or operates a wharf. So nice, interesting profession there. And a couple of things that were really compelling, I thought, is that you could see William Grover throughout the censuses, and he was consistently living next door to Thomas and his family.
Right.
So that's one important point. He did, and then Thomas had a son. His one son was named William. Now, it's a common name, but it's circumstantial evidence. And then I also thought that this was very compelling from the newspapers, that here's William, Grover
Yeah.
of Tring, and he's, in the business of being a wharfinger, and that he had lately been in partnership with Thomas Grover under the firm William Grover and Son.
Son.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty convincing for me.
Sure. Yeah.
And
Great.
then there are some other family relationships, which Jill also documents in the free space page, tying in. William was married a couple of times, so it ties in to his wives. And I think one of these is a son-in-law, and another might be related as like a stepson to one of his wives. So anyway, there's that. And you may be wondering if I don't know if you know how you're tied into the Grovers, but so remember I said that Thomas had a son, William.
Yeah.
That son, William, married your third great grand aunt.
Yeah.
So that is the connection.
Got you. I know the Donaldson name, so the Grover bit was kind of new to me. So that's great.
Right. So that's a whole another little bit of avenue of family history to explore. And I think I'm going to go. Doot, doot. Yep. Okay. I think that's what we've got for you, Yutha. Do you want to? Yeah.
Wow. I'm just, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Great to have a new avenue to go down. And I'm really looking forward to reviewing all the work that's been done and the free space page and just finding out the stories of my ancestors and their relatives. It's great. Yeah. Thank you all very much.
You're welcome. All right, John. So here is your progression. Again, a really, really nice filling out.
Yeah, big change.
Yeah. I wonder what's over here. That little hole. We got to work on that. But yep. So nice growth. And among your connections, we found many ancestors with the Cowan surname. And Sandy led me to this category for the Cowan name study. There are 19 people on this page, and I decided to run my connections on it for you. And here's what I came up with. Look at that. So like over half of them are really, really closely connected to you, John.
Wow. Yeah.
So we would like to point out that the Cowan name study needs a manager. So you could consider.
You're just putting that out
there. So, well, you have certainly have a very, very rich record of military service among your ancestors, John. And so here are two. So your maternal grandfather, Walter Hutton, as I'm sure you already knew, was recognized as a commander of the British Empire. I feel so ill-equipped to talk about CBE and OBE. John, do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Because I have a feeling you understand it better.
Well, it's something that's recognized by the British monarchy, and they give out these accommodations, medals to people who have done something substantial that they want to recognize it.
Okay. Yeah. So, and the C is for commander and the O is for officer, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So, and then we also had Hamilton Weldon, and Weldon was another surname that popped up multiple times. He's a 7th degree connection for you.
Interesting.
Yeah. And back to the Cowans. Here's one of your 6th degree connections. He fought in the Second Boer War. Sadly, he died from his wounds at the age of 21. Then Kathleen Cowan, one of your fifth degree connections. She was born in 1866. It also says in her profile that she married her stepbrother. But in the outside of the family realm, she was born in she was a leader in Irish women's suffrage. And she was quoted in 1910 in the newspaper as saying, "We want direct influence, and the sooner the better it would be for the men and women of the country." And she also was just sounded like a very active participant in society. So when her husband was away and serving in the military, she was active in volunteer efforts. So just the sort of person who makes the world a better place. So Richard Shane, let's see, your first cousin 3 times removed, and Aaron Soltisiak, RAWKer, gave him an award for punctually prolific procreator. He and his wife Teresa had 2 children. I mean, I think this is Irish, I guess what you call Irish twins. One little boy in February and another little boy in October. And at the time of the 1900 census, they had a 10, 8, 7, 5, 3, and 1-year-old. So, that was one tired set of parents, I'm sure.
Yeah, very busy.
And this is very cool. Here's one of your ancestors who emigrated to the United States. Samuel Wilson, who is an 8th degree connection for John, and he settled in Medford, Massachusetts. He was a wholesale milk driver and a Freemason. And Sandy highlighted that it's actually very unusual to find a Freemason registration card like this. So that's special. You know, I suppose, you know, it has to do with the fact that it's a secret society. But here it is. And Sir Edward Porter Cowan, one of your 6th degree connections, was one of Belfast's giants of the Victorian era. And his profile is very lengthy and detailed. It was an interesting read. There was no way I could distill. I didn't mean to make that pun, but no way I could distill it. He was a distiller of Irish and Scottish whiskey. Also knighted in 1881 and served as mayor of Belfast in the early 1880s. So since it's such a great read, I made sure to put the profile there, Cowan 7035, and there's an ad for some of his whiskeys.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's it for you, John. I should have put a special mark so I would know when I got to people's final slides. Thoughts?
Well, I'm pleasantly surprised of all the work that people have done. So it's a lot to go through when all this is finished. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, you're welcome. You had a lot of interesting folks on your tree. Yeah. So let me go back. Okay, Nancy. So Nancy, as you noted, Nancy was already over 2,000. I think, what is the next badge? Is it 5,000 for connections? I would have to look.
I think it goes up to 5. It's 1, 2, and then 5,000.
1,
and
2,
then
and
I think 10,000.
Yeah. Well, I suppose theoretically we could have gotten you a badge, but not this time. But still, we did fill in at each level. There were holes filled in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
does that mean that all 7 like when I'm looking at the one on the right, is that like all 7,
Yes.
all like up to my 7th level grandparents and all
Well,
that all
both,
filled in, or not really?
yeah, both of them are are all your degrees out to 7, all your connections out to 7 degrees. But you can see that there were, quite a few holes in that outer 7th layer that got filled in.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a before and after.
Well, even the 6th layer, I guess, which is the yellow one.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And there were a few in the pink layer was all complete, but we got a few for you in that turquoise level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, oh yes, Josiah Bardsley, one of your 6th degree connections, had several very interesting jobs. So he in the 1911 census he was only 13, but we saw him listed as a barber's assistant. And then by the time of the next census, he's a tram guard. So completely different. Wanted some fresh air, I would guess. And then in the 1939 register, he was a normalizer for sheet metal, which I had to look up. So that is treating metal so that it will become stronger. So very, very important in building the construction industry. So
he was born in the town of Bardsley.
I noticed that. I thought that was very interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's so well, John, you have anything to say about Josiah and that family?
No, well, just that I was the one researching him, and I found it very interesting that he had those different jobs. So yeah, it was nice to do the research on him.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to go we're going to stay in the family. Josiah's older brother, Albert, on that same 1911 census, we can see that Albert, who was 18, was a somatograph operator, which I guess means that he stood at the back of a theater and operated the projector. I'd never heard cinematograph. Oh, I can't say it. Okay, I practiced that one, but I think he worked in a movie theater. And then, Nancy, we were happy to connect you to Kentucky and Appalachia through a 9th degree connection. Who would be John Andrew Gerking, Sr. Gerking III came to the United States towards the end of the 18th century. So you can see that he was born in, well, some records were saying Germany or some were saying Baden. And as you probably know, in Europe, the borders were constantly shifting, especially 18th century. So that I think is as close as we're going to get. But his family lived first in Jefferson County, Kentucky. And towards the end of his life, they were found in church records in Washington County, Indiana.
I have some known relatives in Indiana. I have a lot of known in Indiana, so but I'm not familiar with this one.
Oh, okay, very cool. And his wife was well, she was born in Pennsylvania. So, and it's unclear where her family had originally emigrated from, but she was already born in the United States. They had, I can't remember how many children they had. More work remains to be done on this family, but there are a number of already excellent sources and clues on his profile. And I thought this was very, very interesting. And I copied the transcription for myself because no one wants to hear me try and read that script on the spot. But corroborates their marriage between John Gherkin and Rachel Rice, daughter of William Rice of Jefferson County. But it also creates a link between John Gherkin and this gentleman, William Lux, who is part of an English family that may have been instrumental in John getting over to the United States. And John was an educated man. He could read and write, as could be seen by the fact that he signed his name himself as opposed to putting an X. There's conjecture that perhaps he learned from this English family that he was connected to. So, yeah, I think that is what we have for you, Nancy. I'm glad to hear you say that you weren't aware of the Gherkin family. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I'll have to look into that, see if, I don't think I had a whole lot of connections that were that old, that went back that far to the 1700s instead of the 1800s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you, everybody, for working on that. And the Bardsleys are connected to me, I think, through my son-in-law.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
I will have to let him know about this because, he's going to probably be pleasantly surprised to see this stuff that has to do with his ancestry.
And yeah, I'd be really curious to know about, I think it's such an interesting coincidence that the surname and the town where he was born are the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wonder what the story is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. On to Donna. And Donna, I'm going to describe as much as I can to you verbally. So we got you over 2,000. Yeah. So there's some nice filling in for you at all levels, even at the some of the inner levels, which are closer to you. So, and I can, Donna, I can send you a screenshot of this graphic later so that you can see it. So
Betsy,
yes.
she's not on screen. Did she lose connection, or is she in the waiting room?
Stage. There.
Oh, Donna, there you are. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Okay. All right.
I was fiddling around trying to get the other stuff to come up, and it didn't work.
Okay. All right. Well, we just started. I just showed your before and after circle of connections, and I'm actually happy to send all 5 of you your before and afters, since took a little while to get all of that done. So you should have it too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Donna, through your grand uncle, Arthur Lee Chapman, you're connected to Dr. Pierre Chastain, Sr., who was a noted French Huguenot immigrant who helped to found the Mankintown colony in Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. His profile is very well done. It has a number of images, including this one from I guess the church. Yeah, the church. French Huguenots, Mannequin Town. So it's European spelling, 1700. So definitely some interesting history there.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Donna, you had, like John, you had a huge number of ancestors who had served. So I wanted to put this thank you for your service slide in. There were so many of your family members who served the United States during both World War I and II.
All the way back to the Revolutionary War.
Oh, okay. So this is no surprise to you then, I'm sure. Many of them were your first cousins once removed. So the first is Hobart. I'm sorry, I have a typo on my slide. Hobert.
Hobart.
Yeah. He was from Mississippi. And so he served in World War II. And then returned and lived the rest of his life in Mississippi. We had brothers William and James Taylor, also your first cousins once removed, both of whom served during World War II. And then another first cousin once removed, who served in the Navy during World War II. This young man served Tillman Lyle. He was your first cousin 3 times removed, and he died in River-Marne, France, fighting during World War I.
Oh.
Yeah, 24 years old, July 15th, 1918. And David McSpadden, a 6th degree connection for you. He served with the 134th Infantry Regiment, 35th Division during World War II. And he too was killed in action at the age of 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so sad. He's buried in Luxembourg, but he's also memorialized with a cenotaph in Detroit, Alabama. And as I looked through his profile and down in the sources, there's his draft card, which gives a description. So there's no photo of him, but his draft card describes him as 5'9", 157 pounds, with a light complexion, black hair, and blue eyes. So we found a connection, Donna, between you and Kathy.
Yay!
Yay!
So the slide says, I'm not sure why this person is so surprised that we found a connection between 2 of our Rockies. This is WikiTree after all. So Chet Snow worked on Kathy's adopted Urbach line, and one of Kathy's 4th great-grandmothers is Catherine Ann Leonard. And then he looked a little further and saw that the profile manager for Catherine Leonard is Donna. So I ran the connection finder. The 2 of you are 14th cousins once removed.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, for now, you could bridge the gap.
I was going to say, I know that name. I know the Leonard name.
Yes. So there's opportunity for collaboration for you too.
That's neat.
Yeah. So,
Donna,
any thoughts or questions or?
Not right at the moment. I'm thrilled. I can't wait to go check out all my tree now, because I've wanted to look so bad. It was so hard, but I was good and I never even peeked. And I'm thrilled at this, and I thank everybody that worked on all the lines.
I'm so impressed by this self-discipline that you all displayed. That's great. I would be very sorely tempted.
I know I cheated unintentionally by looking at the Wednesday, the Wednesday, whatever it is that comes out on Wednesday, and it had the changes in some of the things in some of my profiles, and I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to be looking at this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I think for all of you, that's a good place to sort of look at some of the work that was done that I couldn't see. So yeah, thanks for saying that. So Kathy, okay, we're gonna do your Urbeck profile. Dramatic.
Look at how beautiful it looks now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy.
So yeah, we really almost doubled you. Almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we did have, this was the one brick wall that was brought to my attention. There may have been others that were broken down, but so the brick wall was, who was the father of Arthur Lyndon Teague? And the situation here was a little bit confusing because Arthur's mother had been married several times, and Arthur had a stepfather named Albert Moore, as it turned out. But in the record, somehow Albert's name sort of became conflated with Arthur's, so that I don't know where the confusion began, but so here are the players in this drama. So we have Arthur. His mother was Annie Thompson Vaughan. Vaughan was one of her married names, and her second husband was Albert Morse. The name got conflated so that it appeared as Albert H. Teague, but his actual father was Floyd L. Teague. So once the record for Albert's birth was found, things began to fall into place, although we still don't have a death date for Floyd. It looks like we have an after a certain date. Floyd, by the way, was a bit of a scoundrel. See Teague 4464 for details. It's not that bad. Arthur is a 5th degree connection for you.
This Sandy kind of warned somebody there may be tears flowing, and this one, it is for me because the Teague connection to me is through my father's sister's husband, my paternal uncle, who just passed away last year, actually. And so to get this information now, I'm definitely going to pass this on to my aunt, and she's kind of into the family history a little bit. So it makes me very excited that I get to pass this on to her so it can go to, my cousin and her daughter and just go down, and they will now have the correct information to pass down.
Yeah. And just so you know, Donna Bauman was one of the people who did a lot of work in this family. So, and there may be other people you have to look in the changes for each profile, but I know I did go to Donna with some questions.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad we got you some more information.
Yes.
And then, your granduncle. Now you're the profile manager, Kathy, so I know you knew about him. But what an impressive gentleman. Whoops. And he's a notable Nazi resistor and a concentration camp survivor. He survived 2 camps for a total of 7 years.
Wow.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Eventually came to the United States, right? I see that he died in Austria.
He came to the U.S. And then he did go back to Austria.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't remember ever meeting him, but I did know about him and him being a concentration camp survivor. He's just, to me, he's like one of my idols because of that. But
Yeah.
the Federn family has, to me, a lot of notables or people that I feel should be notable in it. So he was my grandmother was the oldest of the between her and her two brothers.
Oh, I see. And so your grandmother was Anna.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Ernest is Federn 5, and it's his biography is beautiful. So I encourage people to go and read it. And he's a notable connection. We've got to get his connections up. Yeah. Then we had Edith Elizabeth Remington. She's a 6th-degree connection for you, Kathy. She graduated from Wellesley College in Massachusetts, and she must have been one of those mover and shaker kinds of people because she was elected permanent class president for her class at Wellesley. She was very active as an alumni. During World War II, she became an assembly line worker at General Railway Signal Company and donated her wages to the Red Cross. I just thought that was beautiful.
I don't know that name.
Oh.
That's a new name for me.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that she donated her wages to Red Cross because my mom used to help out at the local Red Cross. So that I can't wait to tell her that.
Yeah.
I can't wait to say, look.
Well, that's a nice little crossing of paths.
Yes.
Then your 10th cousin, Warner Peck, was an athlete, veteran of the Korean War, radiologist, and historian. He was a 6th-generation Ohioan and is a descendant of the Mayflower Pilgrims. And rocker Celia Marsh connected him to the Mayflower Project.
I don't know that name either.
yeah, and he's he's got family too. So once you get to him,
right,
then you can explore, his parents and his siblings, and before we leave your adopted line, this presentation was 49 slides, and I thought, oh man, so short. I could have gotten to 50 slides. And I would have if I had done one for your Welsh, your desired Welsh heritage. That could have gotten me to 50. But I will just interject it verbally now that Kathy was very, very anxious to have some Welsh heritage, and rocker Malk Rowlands worked on this assiduously. And got you your Welsh ancestors, including a free space page that gives all the details. So
he would tease me. He goes, if I have to move the boundary 10 miles in to give you your Welsh ancestor, I will. And I was like, oh my gosh, I laughed so hard when I read that.
Well, he did it.
And he did it.
So,
okay.
All right. And here's on your biological profile, sharp 13716. Which did. Yeah. Which we did get you over 1,000. Some nice filling out in the yellow section.
Yes.
Yeah, and the pink section too.
Yeah.
So discoveries are fun, but they sometimes lead to new questions. So now, Kathy, I did make a little bit of an assumption here. Did you know that these children were in the orphanage? You did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. William's sister Nellie or Helen. I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure exactly what her birth name was. I do know that she went by Nellie.
Mhm.
Nellie is my great grandmother.
Okay.
And so I know that the 4 of them were put into the Rochester Orphan Asylum.
Mm.
I even contacted them to get information. So that's how I know that Nellie and I don't think it was William, but the other brother, I think Ross, were the ones that were adopted out.
Mm.
And I want to say William and Lucy, I think, were there and aged out by. That's my assumption from the information that I got from whoever holds those records now.
Right. Right. So it's so I guess I didn't realize that I should this slide should say these children were Kathy's great grandmother and great grand aunts and uncle. Aunt and uncle.
Yeah, it has great grand aunts and uncles.
Yeah, but Helen is your direct descendant.
Yes.
Ancestor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to me the question was, why were they in an orphanage in 1892 when their parents were still alive? And I don't. We don't have to get into that now, but
no one really knows. I have my own theory about it, which is Asa left the mother and she couldn't take care of all 4 children by herself. And so that's why she put them in there.
Yeah.
Asa was a little bad boy and had a couple of marriages that overlapped at the same time.
Oh dear. Okay.
So
yeah.
But yeah, I did know they were in the Rochester Orphan Asylum.
Yeah.
So
okay. So my assumption was I wasn't sure. I saw that Caroline had done a bunch of work on this profile, so I wasn't sure if she had discovered that or if you had put that there. So that was my assumption. Okay, you now go crossing over to Italy.
Yes.
Yes, we had a couple of folks who were working on your Italian ancestors. Your second great grand aunt married a foundling named Francesco d'Assisi, and pardon my pronunciation, in 1876.
Okay.
So, yeah. Can you say her surname for me?
Di Bettito.
Di Bettito. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I say it. So
okay. All right. So we're gonna see more of this family.
Yes.
They, the Di Bettito ancestors, migrated from this
Basically,
okay. All right. Which I'm going to zoom in on the map for you in a second, to West Virginia at the start of the 20th century. So got you over to Appalachia. There is where your family was. So the same Angela who married the foundling named after the saint, she had a brother whose son, Nicola, was the emigrating ancestor from Italy to the United States in the early 20th century. Nicola's family had 10 children, 3 of whom were born in West Virginia. So the first child in the family was born in Italy, and then it's children 2, 3, and 4 who were born in West Virginia. And then for some reason, to be discovered, the family moved to upstate New York, and then the other children are born in upstate New York.
Yeah.
So, so that's what we've got for you, Kathy.
Yay!
Was it worth holding out? Did we surprise you a little?
Yes, and I completely forgot that the Deep Potatoes had gone to West Virginia. It just completely slipped my mind. And I was originally able to get across the pond to Italy thanks to Frank Santaro, who I had asked for some advice on how to get there. And, he said, oh, he found these. And he's like, oh, would you like me to keep going? I'm like, yeah. So within like 12 hours, he found me like 25 ancestors in Italy. And I was impressed.
Yeah.
So
was this recently, or because he was one of our rockers and he was working on your line?
No, I think it was a couple of years ago when I first kind of started looking into them. But he had done some work, and that foundling one, I think that's one that we were kind of questioning whether he was a foundling or not, but it could have been another one he was talking about.
Yeah.
But yes. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I have Appalachian roots.
Welsh and Wales and Appalachia. Yep. You've arrived. So, if you want to get in on all this rocking fun, and it really is fun, you have 3 more chances in August, October, and December. So our next RAWK event is happening. We will be doing the rocking in August, which means that we are signing people up to RAWK and to nominate people that they think should be rocked.
I've already nominated somebody.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, there's 2 separate posts in G2G. So one is to sign up to be on the team, and the other is to sign up to nominate. So, there you have it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, to me, this the RAWK challenge is really is what gets to the core of WikiTree and kindness and community and helping one another out. So I love being involved in it.
It was a lot of fun for me, and I really enjoyed working on the other Rockies connections.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great.
Well,
I'm
go ahead. I'm definitely signing up for the next ones to work on other people's.
Wonderful. And we'll have another research party. So
yeah,
cool.
I think
maybe I'll come this time.
I think sometimes we get so involved with challenges and helping other people and everything that we forget about kind of our own families. And this is just a great way to help those that don't always work on their own stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you to everyone that worked on mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks all.
yeah.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm thrilled for all of you. I will send you each your little before and after photos of your circle.
Thanks.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Place them up somewhere. And so let me see if I can figure out how to play us out. We'll see.